and his ultimate is just a great global tool that allows you to attack side lanes, but also just more peel. Yeah. Like there's a lot of dive that's going to be coming through onto the Smolder, onto the Ziggs.
If MDK decide to put some pressure in the top side, or whether it is predominantly leave the Galio on an island, both teams moving out onto the map. But you guys at home, you got to move out and remember to log into your Riot account on allesports.com and watch Worlds Live to earn exclusive Worlds, emotes, icons, and capsules. Get them for yourselves, show them off in front of your friends, and yeah, be the life of every party with your emotes and your icons.
You go to a party and you show off your League of Legends emotes.
I have League Partner Program, so I've got them all ready.
And that's what you do. It's like flashing your gym badges.
I'm like Smaug, just holding all of them, hoarding all of them underneath me. The Rammus OK one is my favorite. That sits on top of the pile.
But again, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that you go to parties and show these off.
I mean, I look very... I'm 33 now and engaged to be married, okay? There aren't many parties that I go to anymore. The ones I do are on the Rift. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay, wow, I've never actually physically cringed in my life, but that definitely does the
trick.
That's a
lie, Eddie.
True, I'm the king of cringe. Anyway, looking at some of the early setups, it looks like we're going to get stock standard lanes, which is always a joy to see. Ziggs and Alistair. Not the strongest 2v2 early laning phase. They'll be relatively safe though. Very rarely is a Ziggs ever in danger. So I imagine that PSG should be able to get that early prio in the bot lane matchup. In the mid lane, we expect Smaller to have control. And on the top side of the map, I am curious whether or not the Rumble gets that early advantage in terms of push and what Elyoya and JunJia will use in order to find some early game advantages. Red side start for both junglers means that they will be mirroring each other.
Woddy jumping in here. Alvaro getting the knock up as he lands. Just mitigating some of that damage. Obviously, Aftershock helping out as well.
Sorry, I just watched Supa miss both minions because he threw his auto attack and it was just so slow that the minion died before he got the last hit. So he's missed a few already in the early laning phase as the early pressure coming through is kind of as we expected. Dawn's Ring start for both top laners for that extra bit of AP damage to start things off. Fresskowy dropping that ward to try and spot out the Maokai. I think he did, but if nothing else, he should be able to identify that simply due to the Raptors being gone, that JunJia will be on the top side of the map.
JunJia pathing up towards Azhi on this Galio. Winds of War coming out from Myrwn's going to be able to get that early push. It looks like Colossal Smash as well. Does do quite a lot of damage if you're using it in the middle of that other wave. That's the Galio passive, so can just get that push in. Maple jumping forward here. Put a little bit of damage down onto Fresskowy. Gets the shield at the end as well to make it a more even trade than it would have been.
Favorable trade overall though for Fresskowy, who's kind of burned through his mana already. Jungle is now hovering around their respective top and bot lanes. I don't think JunJia really sees an opportunity for a gank here. Actually, hang on a second.
What are we hanging on for, Woddy?
I was confused because I didn't see the magic shield on Myrwn, so I thought that he'd skilled something different, but I'm assuming it just got burned.
Yeah, probably just, he is playing into a Galio,
yeah, I mean, that's why I was surprised, right? That's why I said, hang on a second.
Taking a little bit too much damage in that lane, gets it burnt down. Yeah, probably a relatively slow early game between these two teams. The junglers exchanging Scuttle Crabs. JunJia going in here, looking to see if any of these camps are up. Nothing available for him. Can shadow Maple to make sure that this wave crashes in. Myrwn stepping back, knows that his jungler's on the other side of the map, so is just accepting the wave a little bit deeper. And Elyoya charging up the Vault Breaker just in case any shenanigans were about to occur.
Now PSG, when we kind of look at their year, domestically continue to dominate, naturally, as we've come to expect from so many of the players from PSG. But at MSI, they had an incredible best-of-5 against BLG, surprising many and pushing them to the full 5 games. And coming into this tournament, we heard a lot of hype. A lot of experts on the region really set high expectations for PSG. And then coming into play-ins, ultimately, while they did fall short against MDK, they did knock out the NA third seed. And while the start to the tournament was not a pleasant one, I should say the Swiss stage was not a pleasant one going up against HLE. I think expectations are still high. The possibility of them being a dark horse still surrounds them. I think many people see the potential of this roster, in particular from their mid-jungle combo. Meanwhile, there's just that era of skepticism that surrounds MDK.
Yeah.
You know, because the organization internationally doesn't have a great reputation behind it.
I mean, they've done better this year, Betty.
They certainly have. But it's one of those things where I think this roster really thrives in an environment where there are no expectations or pressure on them, right? They always talk about how they just love to have fun. They enjoy the game. They want to enjoy playing the game together. And having that mindset was something that, in particular, Supa talked to us extensively about heading into the season finals, all about they wanted good vibes, which I know is a very weird thing, but just to alleviate that pressure of going up against this team or this player, it really helps your mindset and allows you to focus on who you're playing against. And I'm glad to see that both of these teams from the play-ins have the ability to potentially cause some upset in the Swiss stage. One of them, of course, will be going 0-2, so their tournament road will already be put under scrutiny. And
I think I don't blame people for being skeptical about MDK, because they were really good in winter, and then they fell off the face of a cliff for like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then slowly got back into things.
But isn't it funny how, like, as expectations shift, when they start to rise, this team tends to get worse, and when they lower, they tend to overperform.
It's an inverse curve for them. Their skill is inversely proportional to how much you expect them to be able to do. Elyoya here stealing away one of the grubs, with Supa and Alvaro moving up towards the top side off the reset. TP coming in from Myrwn as well. He is level 6. I'm not sure if that TP was seen, and it looks like MDK want the fight. He's going to stay out of vision, has that hero's entrance to join any battle that might occur in the river. Now is going to back. So he pushed out the wave. TPs to top lane to cover with the hero's entrance, then can walk back towards bot lane and catch that wave as it crashes in.
Yeah, I mean, it may come across as a wasted TP, but he's going to lose a wave off the back of it, so it's not really the biggest loss. Conversely, he was in a good position to potentially counterattack any potential play that PSG would look to make. So I don't hate the TP. PSG respects the possibility of Myrwn joining the fight, and Azhi will happily take this extra farm, take this extra gold, as we found ourselves in a very slow, timid early game as both teams just prioritize farming and playing for these early objectives.
I don't really blame them for doing that either. Just get yourself towards your first completed items, especially on things like Rumble that have lost a little bit of their early game power. But it gives us an opportunity to talk about PSG's man in the mid lane. Maple has been around for so long. Was part of so many teams known as the LCK Killers, you know, in the good old days. Now is in his last tournament before retirement. He talked about it a little bit in an interview recently, saying he is going to bow out of playing competitive League of Legends at least. And I think it's always important to honor and remember these players, as they have been such stalwarts of the scene for so long.
Well, for sure. I mean, back when they were the LMS, they were really a region to be feared. So much respect from around the world. The upsets they were able to make happen. The Flash Wolves were definitely a scary name, as Maple now the target.
That's the ability to jump out with the Fate Sealed and manages to escape any further fray.
I mean, it doesn't convert into a kill, but just removing that ulti alleviates a lot of pressure onto Fresskowy, as Maple will only continue to get stronger in this matchup and have the ability to really lock down this Smolder in the mid lane. So giving more time for Fresskowy to just farm up, chill. It's definitely a comfortable place for him to be, as Alvaro sticking around, protecting that control ward.
And not very well, Betty. He's
doing his best.
He tried. He's trying to move Woddy out of the way, but Woddy was able to secure it. 70 sacks, though, already on Fresskowy, building up towards that 225 mark that we talk about in every single game, because even though it's not as powerful as it once was, it's still a very good breakpoint for the Smolder. Gets himself into a strong position. Across the rest of the map, though, Honor's relatively even. You can see a slight gold lead for Azhi in the top lane, a slight gold lead for Supa in the bot lane. And Dragon has been started up by MDK. It doesn't really look like any reaction is going to come out from PSG. Both teams willing just to farm up. Exemplified mostly by the fact that it is a cull for Maple in the mid lane. 43 stacks remaining on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, Minik. I was expecting MDK to kind of come out the gate swinging a little bit more, but drafting Ziggs and Smolder, perhaps my expectations were too high. Nice pushed wave in from Betty. Means that Supa's going to be forced to catch this, but there's not really anything else that PSG can play for. Crab going to even go in favor of Elyoya as well, who's farming up a storm. I will say, not entirely sure yet on the goal of the Galio is in terms of this matchup. I guess the idea is the Galio can survive it effectively.
Yeah. He does provide you quite a lot when it comes to that snap engage. Right, Elyoya goes in with the cease and desist, Galio Hero's entrance on top of it, and Mega Inferno Bomb on top of that, right? It's almost like a pseudo Jarvan, where it's like, oh, we're just going to lock you all into this spot. But yeah, in terms of the matchup, he kind of just negates it as much as possible. This is the same matchup that BB played when he brought out the Galio top as well.
I will also say, and in my experience, Galios just do very well into short-range comps.
True.
Because, you know, when you're in that melee, when you're in that brawl, that multi-person taunt can be very effective at swinging a fight or basically just being really annoying for Yone to deal with. And we'll keep track of how Myrwn is able to impact the fight. Of course, he is a little bit behind in terms of XP. Both teams grouping now on the top side of the map, given that the Grubs have respawned. PSG are going to start this one off once again. But MDK is prepared to fight for it.
Oh, Alvaro caught out. Going to pop the Unbreakable Will, though. Azhi knocked into the back line. He's currently overheated. The Magnet Storm coming out from Woddy as well. And there's the equalizer. The hero's entrance from Myrwn was immediately cancelled. He was pulled back. And PSG get their first on the board. They're looking for more. It's Fresskowy's locked up, stunned up with the Shadowing Strike. Knocked back with the crash down as well. He flashes the wall. Maple doesn't get over. He flashes forward and he'll get it in the end. Alvaro tries to punt them away, but can't keep them away from his mid laner.
It starts with Alvaro getting caught out in the river. MDK comes across as disconnected as their jungler on the top side of the river actually gets pushed away by JunJia and Betty, threatening a potential collapse. And you'll see it on the minimap right now. Keep your eyes on how the map is playing out. They're looking for a pick onto Betty. It doesn't quite come to fruition. JunJia then turns his attention up towards top. While all that's happening, Alvaro is getting caught out on the bot side river. A nice flash from Azhi, responded with a good ultimate from Woddy, and then as Myrwn tries to disengage or buy time with his ulti, it gets interrupted by Maple. And getting Maple these early kills is going to be very valuable for PSG as they transition into the mid-game.
People getting on the board. Now we see TP to the bot lane as MDK tried to collapse. Woddy is here. Elyoya looking for that cease and desist, but can't get in range for it. MDK, though, can continue to rattle down on this turret. 3 plates off it already. All the while, Maple's in that top lane. He TP'd up there, so MDK know that they have a bit of time alone with this tower. Should be able to take it with the satchel as another wave comes crashing in. And there's the satchel. Supa will wait as long as possible before popping it, denying a couple more of those minions.
A lot of gold going over to MDK. The TP going to come out into top lane as well. Maple will get a plate, but nowhere near securing that tower. Dragon in about a minute and a half, Herald in about a minute. We can safely assume that both teams will turn their attention towards the Herald. But Maple's so close to that Blade of the Ruin King spike, that's going to be his priority for now.
1,000 gold lead for PSG. As you say, Maple is the majority of that. He's about, well, he's exactly 1,000, 1.4k ahead now, just jumped a ton. As he has a large advantage in this mid lane. Fresskowy still trying to stack up, now has the Spear of Sojourn complete. And it's about 116 stacks on that Smolder. We'll see if he can continue at this pace. Get it around 25 minutes or so. With the plates about to fall off in 30 seconds, Azhi just clears out the wave. But he agreed for another. Looks like he respects the fact he doesn't know where the enemy jungler is on the map, so he'll just back away.
Items have come through.
Oh, Vi's going behind him here. Azhi, he's trying to respect as much as possible, but he's gone into that second bush. Elyoya on the collapse. Azhi doesn't have a flash, has an equalizer, but here is the Vault Breaker, lands the initial CC. Elyoya looking for the cease and desist as well, and Azhi is locked up. MDK find a kill in the side lane. Azhi was respectful, but he didn't back away far enough.
This does mean that they'll concede the top tower, and likely the Herald as well.
Might be a tier 2 though, because you can see Supa's moving down.
MDK will set their sights on it, but I don't think they'll be fast enough to secure this objective. Maybe with the addition of Supa.
And Fresskowy's running Demolish as well, so is he?
Yeah, he's running Grasp.
Oh, he is running Grasp, yeah. He's running Demolish as well, so they should be able to take the tier 2 with their powers combined.
Another setup for the Dragon as well. So ultimately, not a bad trade. The biggest concern you have as MDK is now with the Herald. They can drop this mid, and it's likely going to fall soon. But overall, MDK aren't going to be too unhappy with that play, specifically because you give that gold over to Fresskowy. And when you look at the lead being built in mid for Maple, that's a scary position for PSG to be in. Look at the damage already coming out.
Alvaro
Alvaro forced the ulti. I mean, he
ult.
would have died.
Yeah, he would. You're right.
Now he doesn't have it available for the dragon fight. It looks like MDK is going to concede it. And honestly, I think you should. You don't have to fight for this objective.
Looks like MDK is going to concede it, Woddy. Look at where Myrwn is. He's ready for a hero's entrance. Watch him as he comes. Oh, Woddy takes a chunk, though, from a bouncing bomb. Fresskowy doesn't have TP for a little while, but MDK, I mean, maybe they'll concede it and just watch, eat a little bit of popcorn. It's Cinema League of Legends for them, because all they've done is bought a ticket and taken a seat as PSG secure the Drake. So you were right, Woddy. MDK did, in the end, concede it, although they conceded it by watching PSG take it instead of finding things on the rest of the map. Fresskowy here having to get away from Maple. Already used that face seal, dumping forward with Soul Unbound as well. Supa caught wanting as Alvaro has to flash the wall. Bolt breaker away by Elyoya. Fresskowy died as well at the top side. PSG just randomly find 2 kills on the map.
What just happened? Maple gets a solo kill onto Fresskowy. Supa's caught out, doesn't even get a chance to flash. Now the Herald will be dropped, securing the mid tower. This is going to be a huge swing as the ping's coming to top lane. Maple doesn't want to slow down. I can't believe, like, what just happened?
I mean, it looks like JunJia maybe flashed, twisted, advanced, and then they just followed up with Woddy's Magnet Storm and the Killer Instinct, because
and the bot tower.
They get so much out of that. PSG absolutely running the map right now. 2,000 gold ahead. Maple in a commanding position. Is going to get taunted by Myrwn, but I don't think he gives a damn about that. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Betty TP back in. I haven't really talked about the fact that Betty decided to take the teleport on the Kai'Sa here to match the Ziggs' pressure in the early game.
True.
But smart decision by him, was able to save that mid-tier 1. And MDK found wanting a little bit over the last couple of minutes. PSG out to a 2,000 gold lead.
I mean, Maple is a very serious problem. And on top of that, PSG are playing the side lanes better. There is no play on the top side right now. You can maybe trade for this tower, but the collapse from PSG is coming. They're spiking in the mid game very hard.
MDK are looking for something here, but not really sure what. They're all grouped around. Myrwn gets a shove in the top lane. Does have that hero's entrance to join a battle. Woddy with a Shattering Strike. Elyoya decides against using the cease and desist. But as you say, Maple is that looming threat in the side lane. Who's going to go deal with him? At the moment, no one from MDK wants to be the one to have to do it. Maple now TPing in is going to make this MDK's problem. Alvaro with a punt back, equalizer on the back line. Hero's entrance going in, but that's not going to find anyone with a knockup. Elyoya trying to take down Azhi, but with a twisted advance following, he is sent to a watery grave. Maple looking for more. Could seal the fate of MDK here. He catches Myrwn in the middle of the Justice Punch. Myrwn has to flash the wall. He'll escape for now. Woddy looking for a little bit more, but Supa and Fresskowy are able to escape the battle.
I mean, MDK just keep getting caught on the map. Nice TP usage from Maple to create a flank. Myrwn's forced to collapse quickly with the ultimate to protect the bot lane of MDK. But PSG, they know they're stronger. They're not hesitating. They're forcing these fights at every opportunity, and it's so easy for them to do it. You have Woddy's engaged, you have the ultimate from JunJia, and then also Azhi has such great ultimates at every opportunity that MDK are just very quickly falling apart.
MDK have this composition that likes to go in, that likes to dive in with the Vi, with the Galio, you know, but a lot of it's just being used defensively.
Well, I think they're very reliant on scaling, so they need Fresskowy to ramp up, they need Supa to ramp up, and I understand that, but if that's the case, then you should just prioritize constantly cross-mapping. You should just be playing away from where PSG is, but instead they're just getting caught. They're making it easy for PSG to force these engages. You're just funneling more gold into their key carries, and I mean, yeah, MDK, they're giving too many opportunities over to PSG, and now they find themselves 3k gold down.
And PSG is doing a great job of capitalizing on those mistakes, on those opportunities, right? Maple sitting in a very strong spot, Stridebreaker and the Blade of the Ruin King complete, and this is kind of the PSG that we expected to see at this Worlds after how, you know, they're always really dominant, obviously, in the PCS, but how they performed at MSI as well with that 5-game banger against BLG. It was a slow start to Worlds for them, but they've really come alive over the last couple of days. Although against Hanwha Life weren't able to have as much impact in that game as they would have liked. Here they're battling for that one-on-one spot as MDK need to either slow the game down enough that they can scale up or not step out of position like that. Fresskowy's rooted up, locked up. Killer instinct is exactly that as Fresskowy falls. Not sure why he's face checking into nothing on his own, but PSG are very happy to take the kill.
I mean, we started this game by talking about how I think Fresskowy has been underperforming at this World Championship, and he's not having an easy game now. 1 and 3 on the Smolder. He's already been solo killed by Maple once before, but smoothly and cleanly, PSG are just consistently punishing the mistakes, and MDK continue to lose more ground. With the Stride Breaker done, level 14 on the Yone. He's the highest level by far. He has 2 levels over every single player on MDK, and he's going to keep sitting in a side lane, being a menace.
Yeah, and that's all he needs to do, right? Just go in, chunk someone out, back away, and the objective's secured. It's like, bang, and the dirt is gone, you know?
Mean, it's kind of disappointing to see from MDK, because they're a team that I kind of like their creative and explosiveness.
Yeah.
So to see them index so heavily into this scaling approach where we've really not seen Elyoya's impact anywhere on the map. We haven't seen them try and force any plays outside of what we saw one gank onto Maple in the mid game. We saw a bit of a skirmish around the grubs. It's just been kind of dominated by the individuals of PSG that have constantly punished the mistakes of MDK.
MDK struggling to find any sort of purchase. Fresskowy still only at 190 stacks, very much slowed down in the mid game. You can see win probability powered by AWS very much in PSG's favor, and so it should be. PSG now coming in.
Again, another TP.
Just grass being used. That's not going to hit anyone. MDK would disengage for now. The TP in, as you say, from Azhi. Counter TP, but that's in the middle of the fight. The equalizer miles wide. The Magnet Storm under the backline. This could be the opportunity MDK are looking for. Here comes the hero. It's Myrwn. He lands the taunt on Betty on the backline as well, who's opening up under Fresskowy. Betty's going to tank the Baron, flashes across the wall. Azhi burning Elyoya, though, and Maple just wide. Supa and Myrwn trying to survive, but at PSG, even though the fight was not looking good for them, managed to clean it up in the end.
PSG just have too much damage from so many angles. MDK, they were immediately forced on the retreat as a collapse was coming from every single side. The ultimate does come through from Myrwn. You're optimistic about the Wombo combo, but it's not enough. Woddy respawns, the Baron is up for grabs, and PSG are dominating in our last game of the day.
And you feel that was the last chance for MDK. PSG, it was not the cleanest fight from them. The equalizer was a mile away from where you wanted it to be, but still the damage came through. The fight rung true for PSG, and now the PCS #1 seed looking for their first win here in the World Swiss stage. TP into the mid lane by Supa, just trying to get these waves pushed, because now they have to deal with Baron for 2.5 minutes.
I mean, I was hoping we could get a replay, because I wanted to showcase how, like, MDK had a good opportunity. You could see the idea behind their composition, but then they just didn't have the damage.
Yeah.
They're just too far behind. They don't have the spikes they need. Just why we talked earlier about how they've drafted in a way that they're relying on late game. They're relying on this late game insurance, and it kind of relies on PSG to not try and force the leads that they can build, which this team has definitely done. They've found picks, they've done a good job of playing around the map, but now with Baron, they're playing through 2 lanes. Who's going to stop Yone? He's about to hit level 16, Medic! He's a full 3 levels over Fresskowy.
I mean, what a
Maple's
way to play.
he's too strong, man.
He could probably 1v3 right now.
Yeah, I think he could.
Fresskowy still trying to stack up on this Smolder. 2 items for him, 2 as well on Supa, but look at the other side. Maple's on his way to his 3rd. Pretty sharpish. Ginsu's complete. Nash's on its way for Betty. Nature's Grass coming out. Myrwn will tank it. Elyoya and Supa leave him for dust. The equalizer on the backline as well. Mom comes out, and in the mid lane, Fresskowy is able to get one, but down towards the bottom side. Myrwn will fall as well. PSG still have the Baron buff. Supa trying to keep them at bay, but he can't clear the minions out in time. PSG will crack the base of MDK.
The Grubs doing work there as well, as they're able to secure the inhibitor. They can turn their attention towards the mid lane. MDK trying to ping it out, get to that wave as quickly as they can to deny access to that tower. But the resets will come through from PSG. A 9k gold lead. Slow, steady, methodically. They've just been tearing MDK apart. And I mean, there's little to criticize on the side of PSG. They had a good start to the game, easy laning phases, they didn't concede anything, and they just kind of tried to trade objectives on the map. They didn't overstay their welcome, they didn't try and overforce.
So I think this is just Maple being too greedy, right? It's got to be. Doesn't quite hit the fake
we call
sealed.
that the banana combo.
Yeah. And then
still gets the kill. And
the tower
tower
yeah.
shot, yes.
So if he'd gone to the right, I think he survives.
Maybe.
Yeah. But hit by Myrwn in the tower shot, which was hidden by Myrwn, sneaking something into your lunchbox. Here's an extra packet of Smarties for you, Fresskowy, a little tiny treat in what has been a bit of a disparage of a game. Now PSG have super minions in that bot lane. MDK trying to defend top mid, but Maple still a threat ever looming over their shoulder. Fresskowy 3 stacks away from 225, but I feel that might just be a tiny bit too little, a tiny bit too late for MDK. JunJia stepping up as well. He's level 14. It's higher level than Myrwn, and he is playing in the jungle right now.
I honestly just don't see how MDK win. I genuinely feel like that they just don't have enough damage.
I mean, I agree with you, Eddie.
And you kind of just need PSG to aggressively throw over and over again to try and claw this game back. They're overstacking in mid right now because it's an easy objective to take. You throw out the Maokai ultimates, Alvaro doing what he can to defend.
You can see, like, JunJia just tanks up the Mega in front of him. Elyoya goes in, Twisted Advance going out as well. There is the equalizer. JunJia had to flash away, using the phase rush as well to escape. In the end, MDK able to keep their tower standing with only a sliver of HP. And Elyoya dodges away. Alvaro eats the Void Seeker.
I'm surprised that PSG, that MDK were actually able to keep that tower alive before PSG can just turn their attention now towards the Dragon.
I'm going to be honest, Veddy, don't think it matters. Because I think Maple just unbinds his soul, walks up, autos it twice, it dies, and who really cares that you kept the tower alive?
Sure. I mean, it's a brief moment of solace.
Yeah. You're trying to find the small hope at the end of the tunnel.
I mean,
I appreciate that. I just don't think MDK have much of it right now.
I mean, I just know what the comms are like, right? So if you defend that tower, you're like, good job, nice. We're able to hold, we're able to hold, you know? Like,
however, we're not in comms with the players, so we can be honest.
Yeah.
It's done, Vegas. If MDK come back from this, I would do an Atlas and say I'll shave my head, but I got a new haircut today and I'm not going to do that.
Also,
Atlas will shave his head.
Yeah, Atlas will shave.
Atlas will shave his head if MDK come back from this.
That's how confident we are.
Yeah. He's probably flying somewhere right now. Catch this on the flip side when he lands, but PSG in such commanding position.
I mean, Betty's now level 16.
3.5 items complete for him. Supa does have a Rabadon, so there is a little bit more damage coming out from MDK. They have been able to delay. Fresskowy's hit that breakpoint of 225, now almost at 250 stacks, and 3 items for himself as well. But with Baron up in 40 seconds, it feels like PSG will just welcome MDK into that fight. The bot lane inhibitor still has a minute 30 before it respawns.
MDK at the very least have push in mid, but these sideways are a problem. Bot needs to go and be caught. The inhibitors respawned in about a minute's time. Galio going to head over there. Nope. Woddy will not face check. And PSG just setting up for the Baron.
Yep.
Top wave pushed, mid control. Easy, patient steps. PSG really taking their time.
Fresskowy using the Farsight alteration to get a little bit of vision around the corner to make sure no one was backing up Maple. Maple just going in by himself. Fresskowy forced away. Didn't burn the flash though. But with the Baron up, Fresskowy's going to have to back. There's a TP opportunity for him, but where's he going to teleport to? Only one ward anywhere outside the opening lines of that MDK jungle.
Yeah, now the thing about Yone is that he's strong in side lane, but also he's really quick at killing Baron.
Double TP coming out here. Myrwn's looking for something. The Baron already down to 5,000 HP. Elyoya can try and get in the pit. The Shadowing Strike's going to stop him though, and the Baron already secured by PSG. Azhi looking for that flank as well. Has the Equalizer. Dive in with a Killer Instinct. Betty immediately dived on. The Equalizer on the backline. Chunks Supa out. Betty dodging away here as MDK have all dived in, but I'm not sure they have the target selection they were looking for. Elyoya down. Azure 2. Fresskowy flashing away. Supa caught. Maple sends him packing. The static shift proc as well to kill Alvaro. And it's only Fresskowy and Myrwn left alive. JunJia just going to chase Fresskowy out. Betty Behind him with the TP, Fresskowy didn't realize the unseen Kaiser's the deadliest. Another Void Seeker finds its mark, and the Twisted Advance will advance PSG to 1-1. Maple TPing in behind them now, and only Myrwn left to defend.
I mean, the arm guard did so much work for Betty. So much was invested from MDK to try and lock him down, and he just tanked it all by going golden. MDK threw everything and the kitchen sink, and it wasn't enough. Now with the Baron, PSG set their sights on the Nexus, but instead they're going for another inhibitor tower.
Can't quite get it yet. Betty is low, no TP on him. Second inhibitor going down. PSG might just back away, no need to force it. That's the sort of mistake that could get MDK back into the game if you overextend without your summoners and without your health bars. PSG will just take everything away from this top side of the map. They can play for a Mountain Soul in a minute and a half time, but they might just look for the top lane. They have a minute and a half as well on this Baron buff remaining. So play through top, go for 3 inhibs. If all else fails, get yourself a soul.
And I will say that, like, I am disappointed to see this play from MDK. I feel like that the biggest strength that we've seen from them so far in this tournament has been their bot lane. And I feel like that they've been very muted, right? They haven't really been given the tools to flourish, to set up, to kind of fly in a sense. And now the collapse is coming in from PSG.
Woddy looking to send MDK to infinity and beyond. There's a snake in his boot right now, and he's looking for the catch. Could jump across the wall. Storm, it's 3, the equalizer 2! Send them packing, PSG. They collapse in the jungle. Woddy with a monster flank, and MDK put into 4 coffins. Alvaro, he can say the eulogy because it's all done now for PSG.
PSG get their revenge from play-ins. They'll try and catch the wave. They'll need some minions to hit onto the tower, but there's only Alvaro left standing, and I don't think he's going to be enough to stop the siege from PSG.
I'm not sure a single cow can stand in front of so much might. PSG controlled the game from early to the end, and they will even out their score at 1-1.
1-0-16 for JunJia, 1-1-16 for Woddy. The jungle support combo really doing work to set up their team for success. Incredibly clean game from PSG from start to finish, and now the pressure falls on to MDK as they find themselves at 0-2.
Have a couple of days to mull it over. I believe our 0-2 matches are on Monday, so a little bit of time to really get yourself in a strong position for those. I may be wrong on that. I know our winners are tomorrow. I think the 0-2
winners,
is
1-1 and then 0-2.
Yeah, I thought so.